Hi, this is Farrell. Welcome back to Robot Todd in action, being created page by page here. This is the thumbnail for this page, which is page 10 of issue 3. So we're halfway through issue 3 at this point, because the issues from 2 to 5 will all be 20-page issues, or 20 pages of story. So yeah, I'm just... based off these thumbnails, I'm just penciling these out, just going straight from those thumbnails to these pencils. And I don't remember in the last page, Todd found this old skeleton in an umbrella that he used his nanotech magic stuff to fill out and create this shield thing, because he knew that SEPT was in trouble, because there you can see the last page of the SEPT and EMBER comic, and SEPT got trapped in this crystal thing, and Todd's going to rescue her, and the things start shooting at Todd, but he is prepared with this umbrella shield thing, and in the last panel he's picking up one of the crystal fragments, and on the next page, I just actually started penciling it tonight. He's going to be throwing the crystal things at the crystal things. He's going to use its own weapons against it, I guess, and explode them. But here in the second panel we have EMBER, SEPT's little companion, which no one else can see except SEPT, but I feel like Todd can kind of see her, but doesn't really respond to her. So yeah, I inked this with a brush. This is pretty much the extent of the inks here as far as line art inks. The biggest, I guess, challenge or thing I was kind of intimidated by was their sort of the shadows of all the shadows that the umbrella would be casting. So it's kind of because I normally think of when I paint a page of Robot Todd, I'm thinking oh, Robot Todd's outfit's white. He's got a white jumpsuit on with a yellow stripe. And so I'm not really thinking of the way the light and shadows and stuff really work with that until I'm actually coloring it. And so on this page, I just decided to do an ink wash of everywhere, kind of I imagined the shadow would be casting. And this is also at night, or take, kind of in the dusk hours, early evening. I just kind of wanted it to be dark, because the last panel of the SEPT and EMBER comic, you can see stars and a dark sky. So I wanted it to kind of match up. So the first panel of this page and the last panel of the last page, there's meant to have been some time passing, because when the last panel of the last page, even though the sky is green and, I just figured it's toxic and weird looking, from pollution or something, and radiation or whatever it is in this far future that's coloring the sky, these weird colors. I wanted this, so the last panel of that page, I wanted it to be this green, but then after I was done with it, I was oh man, the next scene is supposed to be kind of darker. So I thought about going back and recoloring the other page, or just darkening up the other page, but I liked the way it looked. So I just kind of am just thinking oh, hopefully the reader will just assume that time has passed and it's not a big deal. I kept the sky kind of green still, but I made it a lot darker. And hopefully it just kind of, sort of your brain just fills in that it's oh, okay, there's been, we walked for a little while, and in that time the sky got darker. Anyway, but this page was kind of cool to me, working on it, because it went really fast, first of all, and also to the last two panels. It was a rare thing for me to from start to finish, not start, but once I got the shadows in, I just really liked the way it looked, and I was I guess, kind of like a little nervous I was going to ruin it or something, but when I colored it, you know, like overwork it or whatever. But I really liked the way it looked in black and white, and then once I colored it, I really liked the way it looked color even better. So it was kind of nice for once, I guess, just to be like, oh, wow, okay, that went according to plan, or that I didn't really have a plan. I kind of winged it, but like there was no mishaps, and it actually came out okay. The top two panels are, you know, whatever. I'm not like upset about them or anything. I think they look fine, but those last two panels, I was just really like, yeah, I did it. I did what I was hoping would happen. So I'm coloring these, or watercoloring these pages with the same brush that I used to ink. I was kind of like after the first couple of pages, I was using a pen to ink the page, like I'd ink and letter the page with a Faber Castell pitt pen. But then starting with this issue, or maybe in a few pages of the last issue, I don't know why I switched to inking with a brush again. So the little thing I do is with this this comic in particular is that I've been, if you watched any of these videos, you probably heard me say this, but I've been inking all the foreground characters and some of the foreground stuff besides the characters with, I've been inking those and then leaving the backgrounds and everything just to paint. I just watercolor those. And so here I'm going in, the page is getting there, it's almost done. But I thought it might be nice just in the background to have some like little, you know, you can kind of see some little lightning bolts, or maybe they're more like rays from these like little crystal entities, crystalline entities. So I just took some of that opaque white paint that I have there, and I'm using the same brush that I've been inking all this with, and just kind of making these little teeny little lightning bolts in the background. You probably won't, anyone wouldn't really notice, but I don't know, it just kind of adds a little bit of like atmospheric perspective or something to it. You can kind of see this like little electrical storm or something that's happening off in the distance. So in this first panel, we have Todd, you know, coming up and seeing his pal SEPT there inside the crystal. And then as he's running in the second panel, one of those things like shoots at him. And then the third panel, he's like using this thing to block it. And then he's picking up this rock. And then, yeah, in the next, I think I said this earlier, but the next thing he uses the rock to blow up the things that are attacking him and hurting his friend. And then he's going to like, you know, try to wake SEPT up, like chip him out of the crystal stuff. And it should take up like, I don't know, maybe like 4 pages of him just breaking him out of this crystal thing and getting back to, you know, normal SEPT where they can talk and catch up. So, so here I'm going over it looks like I'm going over the crystal ray stuff with the opaque white. And I mix that with some blue. I have these high intensity liquid watercolor things that I use, little eyedroppers, and that's what's in those little glass cups that you can see there. I drop a couple little drops of the hue in the cups, and then I mix some water in there and kind of get my brush wet, and then, you know, add a little bit, and then it's just kind of like back and forth with that and the opaque white to get all the blues on this that you see on this page. The stuff from the crystal rays and the little crystalline stuff, and then the third panel when it's like all exploding, that's all just a mixture of ink, the Pro White, or the opaque white, excuse me. Pro White is the other brand, but the Dr. Martin's opaque white. And there's the scanned page. There it is, all scanned in and ready to be put in a comic book. Okay, so this other thing I wanted to mention is SEPT and EMBER. It's this comic book, 32-page comic book that I have coming out, and it directly ties into Robot Todd. So if you like the Robot Todd stuff, this is like a companion piece to it. There's like that panel right there on the right. That was actually in the first issue, so it ties into the story. And you can get it at the crowdfunder. I've already raised the money for the printing, met my goal, but if you want to get a copy of your own I'll draw on it for you and send it to your door. There it is, fun this September. All right, thanks for watching the video. I'll see you soon. Bye.